This story is from Romer 12. We will call her Riley, and we'll call her friend Marcy. Riley lives in Gallup, New Mexico, a city surrounded in Native American culture and history. They have many surrounding towns and reservations that have been there for a long time, and lots of people say some of them are haunted. And Riley's experience actually takes place in Gallup, on the east side of the city near a small reservation. Marcy would visit her sister every weekend in her low rental apartment on the east side of the city. And during these weekends, Riley would spend the night with Marcy in her sister's apartment. And at night, when there's absolutely nothing to do and the kids and the parents were asleep, Riley and Marcy would go outside and just chill in the courtyard park that was in the middle of the apartment complex. And one night, they are so bored, they decide to walk to a 24/7 convenience store at 2 a.m. And they were used to being up late, so they were wide awake. And they start down the road that goes behind the apartment building, where there are no lights and tons of brush and prairie dog holes on the ground. And as they're walking, Riley senses somebody staring at them or following them. And she turns around to look, but there's nothing there. And she looks forward again, and Marcy grabs her arm and whispers in her ear, "Oh my God, what was that?" Riley looks into the darkness and sees nothing. There's a slight breeze that night, and there's a lot of trees in front of them. So Riley just kind of passes it off as the wind blowing and moving all of the trees. And Riley tells Marcy, "It's just the wind, chill out." And the girls keep walking. But as Riley looks again, she sees what looks like a black figure moving through the trees. And she stops and she tells Marcy, "I think that's just a drunk crashing out back there for the night." And Riley is doing her best to keep a calm voice so she won't scare the crap out of Marcy. But that was almost impossible, because she was sensing that this thing in the trees wasn't a drunk crashing out for the night, and that it wasn't nice. And she asks Marcy, "Do you want to go back home?" And Marcy says, "No, we're almost to the store. Let's just keep going." As they keep walking, they hear movement in the trees. Swift, fast movement, as if something is darting around. And they start walking faster, like power walking. Riley hears something behind them, so she turns to look, and she sees what looks like a wounded dog or something. Now that in itself isn't super scary, because where they live, they have lots of stray dogs. But what she hears next stops her dead in her tracks and paralyzes her from the legs up. Riley hears this thing kind of moan and growl at the same time, as if it wanted her for a snack, and she can't move. And Marcy tries snapping her out of it, saying, come on, we gotta run." But Marcy's screams sound distant, as if Riley's gone deaf, or as if she's far away. Riley had made eye contact with this thing, and she knew that was a bad decision. And Riley closes her eyes and says a short prayer, and turns around and runs for her life with Marcy right at her side. And she tries not to look back, but something is commanding her to look behind them. So she turns around and she sees a man running straight at them. But he isn't just running, he's on his hands and knees. And Riley screams. And that scares Marcy, who joins in. And they start running faster until they finally get to the road where there's light and cars passing by. They'd run for about 7 minutes nonstop and were completely out of breath, with their sides aching and cramping. And as they stop to catch their breath, Riley looks behind them again and sees the man way off in the distant darkness going back the way he came from. And they walk not even 2 minutes And they get to the convenience store, and the lady behind the counter gives them a weird look and says, "Are you girls okay?" And they both nod, and in between breaths manage to spit out, "Yeah, just a late night run." And Riley could tell that the clerk didn't believe them. And she asked, "Did you girls run from the apartments?" And Riley answered, "Yeah, why?" And the clerk says, "Really? Are you girls sure you're okay?" And Riley and Marcy look at each other. And Marcy tells the clerk, "Well, not really. Something was chasing us, and we have no idea who or what it was." The clerk says, "You girls just ran from a skinwalker. It chases anyone it catches walking that road alone at night. You girls are lucky you made it this far." And as if the girls aren't shaken up enough already, what the clerk tells them rattles them even more. They don't have any money, so the clerk offers them a bottle of water, closes down the store, and gives them a ride back home. And as they drive by the bushes and trees that they had just run past, they all see something running in front of them. And the clerk says, "Just ignore it and close your eyes." And they finally get back to the apartment complex. And the clerk tells them, "You girls stay home at night now. There's no reason for you both to be running around at 2 a.m. Keep yourselves safe. You hear?" Riley and Marcy nod, waving goodbye and thank you. And they never left that apartment complex after midnight again.